Awesome. I think we're live. All right, Vitality Nation. Dr. Nick Fanning here, as always, and I have a special treat for you. Now, it has been 2 months since our last webinar, and to be absolutely honest, I have a few recordings that we've placed that's going to be on the website, but tonight is a special event. I knew Laurie from college, and she actually ended up marrying one of my fraternity brothers. But more importantly, I even knew back then, you know, those people that you know are just meant to do some amazing things. Laurie is one of these people. And when I found out that somehow she had moved so close to back where, you know, by Ogallala, she's actually in North Platte, but she had moved back home, so to speak, that I thought this was such an amazing opportunity to really grab hold of somebody that's doing some major things. And if you've had the chance to know Laurie before this interview, to see some of the stuff that she's been doing Facebook and work with John Maxwell and really doing a lot of personal development and helping a lot of people do the same, there'll be no mistake about how you know why I was able to coax her into doing this webinar. And so, Laurie, I have to say, thank you so much for taking your time away from your family and from what you do to be with us tonight, and especially to bring this whole premise to my client members and to my community. And so, Laurie, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me in. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And now, Laurie, I gave a small introduction. Do you mind taking it from here and fill in some of those gaps?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Nick said, first of all, I got to say the kudos back to you. You are awesome. I knew from college as well that you were going to be a standout rock star, world changer. So congrats to everybody for following Nick. He's amazing. I'm sure that's why you're here. So my name is Laurie Hock. I am passionate and full of energy about helping people transition from living their life to leading it. I have been studying leadership under John Maxwell for the last several years, and a real fire has come as I've transitioned myself, which you'll probably hear some of that story through our conversation tonight, just in new ways, and realizing that we have so much potential. We have limitless potential, but how are we developing that? Because people, this has been on my heart the last few weeks, so if I can share it here for a minute, that'll get us started. People are a lot like film. If you can remember back to the days of Kodak film before the digital era took over. And when I see people, I see that raw potential, but it doesn't necessarily translate into possibilities and what someone could become or who they are unless they're developed. And so the principles we're going to go through tonight are really set up to help you begin that development process and see what else you need in your life to create that development. So you're not just sitting with the raw potential, but that you can translate that into results. Oh, I get so excited just thinking about it. So that's where my passion is. Yeah, I love it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Laurie, the topic of the talk tonight is those top 3 keys to living that breakthrough life. And we're not just saying like imagining about it or visualizing it, but actually living it. And folks, this might be the best time of year to start this, because we're going back to school, and we always think of just our kids, but why not ourselves? So, Laurie, why don't you take it in? What's the first of the 3 keys?
The first key, I love giving people tangible tools because I'm a coach and I love working with processes and helping people see how to get from here to there. So the first one, as I kind of led into in our introduction, it's all about leadership. It's about learning how to lead yourself well, lead your life instead of living it. So let's slow down for a minute and define leadership, because I feel like that's a buzzword that's heard quite a bit, but I don't think people really understand the magnitude of what it is and how it pertains to each and every one of us. It's not about positions. It's absolutely not restricted to titles. For me, the definition I've come to really accept and create for how I define leadership is taking responsibility to create positive change. That's leading to me. If you're not creating positive change, you're not leading. You're maintaining or you're managing. And I found that a lot of people, myself included, live their lives that way up to a point. It was around 2007, 2008, when I began to have this breakthrough moment that I was living, not leading my life. You mean to pause here for a second? And let you intervene, or do you want me to keep
You
going?
know, honestly, I think you make a really strong point there, because it's so easy just to kind of do the day by day by day and be reactive versus being proactive. And I think you're absolutely right. One of my favorite all-time books is by Robin Sharma, and it's The Leader Without a Title. And that sometimes we really wait until we have this position, this magical position where we're supposed to lead. And, you know, all of a sudden we're supposed to change all our habits then, and we're supposed to have all these things then, instead of saying, okay, whatever position you are in, do your very best, be that leader that you know you need, and especially as a parent or especially as a business owner. Sometimes you have to be pulled into these things you're not really ready for. So, Laurie, how did you use this for yourself?
Well, for me, I had decided. Oh, can you hear that feedback?
I got a little bit, but you're still okay.
Okay. I had decided at age 11 that I wanted to be a dietitian. And so I kept my eyes locked on that for years, for over a decade. And when I got into past all the postgraduate work and in the field itself, the first several positions I held, it felt like something was missing. It felt very unfulfilling, and it just felt like there was something out of alignment with who I really was. And it was really a period of going through a couple of years, realizing, do I keep pressing on with what I thought I always wanted to be, or do I learn how to redefine myself from this point? So I had to make it was a fork in the road. Do I step forward into growth, or kind of retreat back into safety, into the familiar? And I had no idea what that other fork would be, what it could be. It was totally unclear, but I knew it was far less risky to take that leap and find the next thing than to stay where I was and to settle in this place of familiarity. So it was a process of really learning who I was outside of a particular career path, being willing to lay that down, everything I'd worked so hard for. I think a lot of people get caught up in, just the daily grind and forget that bigger vision. But I could tell deep inside that where I was not where I was supposed to stay. There was bigger plans for me. So, it was a lot of...
That's a hard moment, a hard truth to swallow sometimes. I mean, very often we talk about trying to climb to the top of the mountain and just working and working and working, and finally we get there, and sometimes we're not on the right mountain. We're on somebody else's mountain. We have somebody else's idea. And so, Laurie, hats off to you for having this courage to realize that you were on the right mountain, that you had to somehow get down and get onto the right mountain. You probably saw it miles and miles away and be like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get there? But wow.
And it's a process. Let me say, it wasn't like this download came overnight. Finding the me I am today took years, but you can step into it one step at a time. That's the nice thing. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have all the answers to choose to create that positive change, to take that responsibility, because only you can do that for yourself. Nobody else can. So if
and the last thing you want to do
not,
is go there by accident. So you were choosing and taking that by hand and choosing for that.
That's right.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So that would kind of be a nice little segue of like, hey, what's our second step?
So making that choice to lead yourself forward, then what that looks like, and these all kind of are more in a continuum than a specific sequence, because I think they're all happening simultaneously.
Okay.
But choosing to move forward and create that bigger vision, then what happens with that is choosing growth. And what I mean by that is you've got to divorce the comfort zone. Absolutely divorce the comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Now get this, on a daily basis. Because that darn comfort zone wants to creep back in and suck you back into that status quo. No matter how many stair steps of growth you progress through. I like to see it like you take a step up, and then sometimes, you kind of plateau, you kind of grow into that new space. But if we're not also choosing to take the next step from there and keep growing, keep going up that stairs of growth, then we run the risk of plateauing and getting in that comfort zone at any level, no matter how much. If we're not still choosing to sever ties, our potential's paralyzed. The comfort zone absolutely paralyzes our potential.
So the quote of the hour always says, like, true growth happens outside your comfort zone. And folks, this is such a huge thing. If you're just, if you have the same problems over and over again, you're not growing. So you're constantly searching for new problems to solve. And, before you really jump on that, what I mean by that is that we have this bubble. And if we just stay in there, we're not growing. We're not, we're just slowly coasting down. And so what Laurie's trying to push on there is, like, honestly, this is a daily choice. Is what am I going to do to take it up another level? What am I going to do that to expand versus contract? So, Laurie, do you have any tips for that?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of times people don't even realize they're in the comfort zone. We can be stuck in this little box, but we can't even see the walls around us because it's safe, it's familiar, it's routine and predictable, that until we experience something or someone that causes us to actually get a bigger view and realize, this box that we've been living in, it takes, a lot of times the outside influence. And so I'll share a couple things. I think sometimes people get stuck in the comfort zone because they don't even know that another way is possible. They absolutely lack the knowledge that it could be done differently, that they could actually create a different outcome for their life. Do you find this to be true?
Every single day.
Yes.
It's like we've always done it this way, which is like, the worst thing you can think of is doing it,
I know. Yep. I know, but until they, again, and this kind of ties into our next point about other people and relationships, until you're positioning yourself in environments for growth that can help you see in other ways possible, you might stay there. Another reason I think people fall into the complacency and the safety, which doesn't necessarily equate to laziness. There are definitely hard workers that are stuck in the comfort zone. So don't misunderstand that. You can have a great work ethic, but you may not be moving toward anything. And oftentimes I find that people seem to be waiting for a better time or waiting until things slow down. Maybe the schedule, it's a busy season. Or waiting till the kids are a little bit older or whatever that might look like. But the waiting zone, what I have come to conclude, and I'm talking to myself here too, I speak all this from my own journey, so I'm still in process too, but I can share tips for what I've overcome along the way. But waiting to me is really the refusal to sever ties with the comfort zone. If you think of it like that, we're just refusing to make a change. This became really real to me. My daughter, Hannah, she just turned 3, and she has been in therapy for about 2 years for different things, for some neurological issues, and we've overcome tremendous things. It's awesome. But she just graduated from her therapy this month, and they gave her the Dr. Seuss book. Yeah, super exciting. Oh, the Places You'll Go. So we've been enjoying reading that. And it struck me, I love it. It's so inspirational. It really speaks to what people can do, and it gives some warnings as well. But there's a full page spread in that book about people that get caught in the waiting place. And it made it so visually real for me because I've never actually thought of what that looks like, of all these lines and lines of people just standing, waiting for the next best thing to happen. Waiting to fish, waiting to go to the store, waiting for whatever, in Dr. Seuss language he says. But it's key. The waiting kills us. Let me see, I think the last thing I'd share on that, if any of this is resonating with you, is that maybe another reason you're in the comfort zone is you just simply lack a bigger vision for your life. So if you have nothing to move toward, there's really no problem with where you are now, so to speak, if you can't see beyond that. So I think the biggest thing for that I want to really press on is the fact of not being able to recognize you're actually in the box. Can I share a quick story here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And it kind of ties in with the waiting thing as well. I guess there's several I could share. But for me, what that looked like with the waiting mode is that I was thinking that, I had full-time childcare, primary caregiver, stay-at-home mom, whatever you want to call it, for several years after laying down my role as a dietitian in the years where I was really seeking to find and develop myself. And I realized that I loved my children so much, loved that role, but there was a part of me that was dying in the process. And it took a while to really realize that. I was giving all I had for the betterment of another piece of me that needed to be expressed. But inside, and this took me a while to realize, a lot of journaling and processing, but I realized that I too was stuck in the waiting game, thinking that I couldn't really pursue me and my bigger dreams until all my kids had been born and were in school.
Right.
And I laugh now thinking, oh my word, like I remember thinking at the time, wow, so I don't know how many years that is, 10 more years, 12 more years, what does that even look like? And I realized then, wait a minute, who says I have to wait? Why does it have to be that long? Why can't these coincide so that I'm not caught in this mode that I have to wait for it to happen, but rather, why can't I help create it to start happening right now? So there again, just the way we can be in our own box, but we don't realize it till suddenly we can step beyond and see what it would look like, what it could look like to move beyond.
You know, actually, I think you really hit the point on the nail, head on the nail right there, because there's so many people that build their own cages, they build their own traps that they're stuck in. And folks, that's the whole reason that you have mentors or have coaches, because even if let's break it down. Let's say it's a football team. If nobody's there pushing them to see a bigger vision or push them outside their comfort zone and make them do those 2 extra laps or run the play 2 extra times, they're not going to grow. And so we somehow lose that when we leave high school or college, or when we're not directly under the mentorship of somebody. And so it's important that we time and time again choose those people, and choose carefully those people in our lives that are going to help push that. Because Laurie, the opposite of that, what do you think? Do you think social circles like family and close friends, do they, they mean well for us, but are they pushing us to be bigger and bigger and bigger, or are they try to keep us in that comfort zone?
Oh, I think that probably requires a very close evaluation for everyone tuning in here, because I think it depends on, which is the answer for a lot of things, but I'll back this up. I think sometimes they can really challenge us forward. But all in all, and this kind of leads to my third key, that we need to seek supportive relationships. We need to seek outside support, actually. And what I mean by that, it can really look a lot of times on the professional level. So our spouse, if they believe in you and your vision, your potential, that's awesome. That support means the world. And support from a best friend or a parent is fantastic as well. But I don't believe in most cases that they can objectively both champion and challenge you to bigger things and greater possibilities. So by support, I think
you are so much nicer, and you put that so well. But folks, I'm gonna disagree, because I know what Laurie is saying, that it's possible. But I'm saying if it was happening, you'd already be up there. So I'm saying if those people in your life are already doing this sort of thing, you probably wouldn't even be listening to this podcast. I'd probably be interviewing you guys right now. And so I'm saying that sometimes our social circles, they love us so much that they don't want us to change. And it's amazing to have the supportive spouses and those friends in your life. But as you're going to listen to Laurie here and talk about this, she's that type of person that's going to help you have that greater vision and push you to a whole new level. So Laurie, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but I know from you were just way too nice.
Well, let me clarify, because there's different ways to define support. So our loved ones tend to support whatever we are wanting to do. And that's what support often looks like, is they come in to agreement with what we've said we need to do or want to do. And they show that support like they're kind of backing us in that. But the support that I'm talking about in a growth-minded community actually looks very different, where they can call that out and say, that's not your best. You could do better, or you are so closed-minded in your thinking right here. Let me help you see another way. Or just instilling that belief, that value in people. Man, so many of the folks I work with, they have nobody actually pouring in to affirming who they are and developing that potential to the more. So,
Amen.
Yeah. Does that kind of hold?
Oh, yeah. We're in agreement.
Yeah, definitely. It's the relationships that make such a significant difference because nobody achieves success on their own. And this has
Right.
been really huge for me in the last few years, really. Not that I didn't value relationships before, but until you actually experience what it feels like for people to be advocating for your success at levels beyond what you can see or imagine, I don't think until you've experienced that you can really have a grid for this last key to living a breakthrough life because you don't have reference for it. You don't know what it could be. You only know the context of your current relationships. And so I discovered that through being a part of the John Maxwell team, which is a global organization of speakers, and what that's done for my growth personally has been out of this world. So I challenge you, it's probably obviously not the John Maxwell team for you, but what group, what organization of really forward thinking, forward moving people can you become a part of? An active part where you come to mutually give and receive from people who only have your best interest in mind and who you want to generously pour into as well. That's the kind of supportive relationships that move us and keep us out of the comfort zone on a daily basis. Yeah.
Amen. And I say that, folks, that you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so right now, hey, thanks for spending time with me and Laurie here, but you need to be thinking about who you're spending the most time with. And if you're loving their life and you want that type of life for you, great. But if you're not, maybe it's time to upgrade. Maybe it's time to search out and find that tribe that you so desperately need in terms of health or financial or business sense or even just interpersonal growth. And so, I think, Laurie, you're doing a great job with this. As far as we like talking about the relationships and things like that, did you have any struggles with this, or how have you used this for yourself in your own journey?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, a story that I could definitely share, because wherever you're at in life and whatever it appears to people from the outside looking in, I always laugh when people think I have it all together. Funny to me because nobody does, folks. Nobody. Okay, that's another breakthrough key here. We're gonna add that one. Nobody does. We're all in process, and I think it's the beautiful thing that we're on this perpetual learning journey, or lifelong learning of developing who we're really born to be. Anyway, so an example I can think of, which this is related to the John Maxwell team. There's tons of examples, but of the stuff as you're working through and growing, there's always going to be inner stuff to deal with, and that's just part of the process. And so I love helping people work through that, but I also need somebody to call and help me through that stuff. So there's one particular day, and this kind of connects to what I was sharing before about realizing I don't have to wait, 10 or 15 more years to really step into what I feel God's calling me to do with empowering other people by creating this company to help them be their best self as well. So in that transition came a lot of internal conflict rising up, and a lot of things trying to compete with the beliefs in my mind and not knowing what it does look like to move forward, because everything in my programming was wanting to keep me where I was. It goes against every cell in our body to try to move forward and do things we've never done. The mind tries to shut out creating that change. That's why so many people try or maybe want to, and then they self-sabotage. Anyway, so I was going through trying to make this bridge between, okay, stay-at-home mom to career, company, owner, building that. What does that look like? And there was such struggle that one day I realized, oh my goodness, I need to call my mentor, one of my mentors, Paul Martinelli. He's the president of the John Maxwell team and makes himself very available to support people in so many awesome ways. And I remember very clearly I was sitting in my van. I love vans, okay? Got 3 little kids. Love my van. I was sitting in my van in the Walmart parking lot, and I called him up, and I said, okay, I need to talk because I'm not sure what the internal battle is right here. I just know I'm miserable. This isn't working for me, and he has a reputation of getting to the root of the issue pretty much in 10 seconds or less. He's amazing. And so he helped me see that I actually was operating under the old paradigm that career and family could not coexist.
Oh,
I
man.
had let go of my other career, became mom, and had never tried to balance and manage the two. For all those of you that are out there being parent and provider, employee, business owner, whatever that looks like, we know that's something extraordinary to grow into as well, major change. And so I was compartmentalizing that it was either or, and he helped me see quickly. I was tears rolling down my cheek and saying, oh my goodness, I can do both.
Right.
Like both. I'm called to do both. This isn't offensive to my family because I'm stepping into my calling at a new level. This isn't saying I'm choosing career over my children. Like, there's a way to blend it to both. And if it wasn't for his perspective in that particular call, and tons more other people at various points in the growing journey for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think without people having someone to speak into them like that, there's just no way to move forward, honestly, because we can't see it ourselves.
Right. Gosh, that's Laurie, thank you for being so authentic and just real with that. And I'm sure that, I mean, I've had moments like that. I'm sure that people are listening in are like, yeah, I've been there. And especially if you're a parent, who hasn't cried in their van? Come on. Especially if the kids are in there and they're like, what's going on? I totally understand. So I totally get it. So Laurie, man, that was just so raw and awesome. How do you really start that out? Because I know people have been burned by trusting people or choosing the wrong people. What are some things that you can do to help, I guess, what's the big way? How do you enlist these folks?
I think something you touched on a few minutes ago is look at the outcomes they're getting in their life. You definitely don't want to be seeking advice or, asking people to pour into you that are getting different results than you would like. A lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So if their actions, if they're not taking risk, if they're not engaging and collaborating with other people to create better things together, if they're not leading themselves forward in dynamic ways that inspire you and give you hope, then that's not somebody you want to be listening to. I know there was loved ones of mine when I said I was not going to be a dietitian anymore. I could feel a calling to something else. Very close people close to me said that was a terrible idea. Like, how could I even consider abandoning something I'd worked so hard for and put so much education towards? Those aren't the voices. With all due respect, you can love them and honor them in some ways, but they're not the ones leading your life, or are they? So I would challenge you, to look for people that their voice resonates with you. There's something so profound about that, because when I started reading John Maxwell books several years ago, I just felt like he got me. It spoke to every bone in my body. And some other friends that were reading that first book through the same study said this was such a hard book for me, or this was challenging. And I'm like, I underlined everything in the book. I loved it. So I knew then there was something with John's leadership message that was so true for what God was calling out in me, that there was something really significant in that. And he would be a voice to really speak into me. So listen. Does that make sense for what resonates with you? And that will likely be a good clue. Who inspires you? Who do you want to be around and can't wait to talk to next? Yeah, those would be good tips.
Hey, excellent tips right there. And folks, I gotta say, like right now, is that if you honestly were resonating well with Laurie here on this, I'm sure that, she's easily found on Facebook. I know she has a lot of different way contacts. Laurie, I guess if people really were drawn to you in this talk, what are some ways they can work with you?
I have several different things that I work with people through, either one-on-one opportunities. I do one-on-one coaching that can be different options of going through a process of discovering your strengths. I'm a Gallup certified strengths coach, and so I love doing that process to help people develop and really own their talent, gain that confidence, expand their influence. That way, we also tie it specifically to leadership development. I also have some group programs that I do with small business owners and teams within a company to go through either strengths-based development or specifically leadership, all sorts of great things. I love being someone that can cultivate a growth community for other people because it's meant so much to me. So one of the things I want to point out is on my website, I have a tool that, I hope you like the hand gesture. Can you see my hands every once in a while?
I love it.
I have a tool that I call the Live or Lead Accelerator. And you can download it. You don't have to opt in or give your email or anything. It's ready right now at lauriehock.com. And I'll spell that because it's a little tricky. It's LaurieHock.com. LaurieHock.com. It's right there on the homepage. It's called the Live or Lead Accelerator. I've developed that gives people the choice to evaluate several statements, whether they fall more into the leading or the living category, and how that resonates with them. And so download the tool, work through it yourself. There's page 2 to help you see how you responded on the first page and the areas that you are doing well in and the areas you have opportunity for growth in. So that would be an obvious next step, just to experiencing some more of the value I love to give. And I actually wanted to, can I offer something on here?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, what an amazing gift already is that you got a free assessment online. You don't even have to opt in for, no emails, stuff like that. I mean, folks, at the very least, that would be your next action step, minimum. But yeah, Laurie, please, if you have a gift for people, please.
It's a work from my heart, and so I've heard great feedback from people that have worked through the tool already, so I hope it's a blessing to you. There is options to sign up for emails if you want to stay in touch with me that way. But what I really felt like as I was preparing to talk with you, what I would love to just put out there for anyone that would be interested is those of you that download that tool and work through it, I would like to make available, I've not done this before, honestly, but I want to offer it to your people, 10 individuals, a free 30-minute leadership strategy session with me. So the protocol for becoming eligible for that would be to work through the Live or Lead tool, and then the session will actually be me coaching you through your results. And yeah, it's going to be fun because that's what I do as a coach. I help you see why you're thinking things, why your frame of reference is what it is, what more could be possible in this area. It's not something that we can easily evaluate from the inside on our own. So I want to offer that gift to those that might be interested in how I'm going to decide who gets those 10 sessions. Which 10 people, you'll each get one, you can email me, and maybe you can put this up somewhere with wherever this is posted. Totally. But it's Laurie@lauriehock.com. Again, LaurieHock. And I want you to find Breakthrough Life webinar. Okay, so do that for me. I'm going to open this up starting tomorrow through Saturday, September 3rd, I think is the date. Is that September 3rd? Yeah. Okay, so you have some time. I know some of you guys don't view this all when we're doing this live right now. So from Tuesday through Saturday, email me with Breakthrough Life in the Breakthrough Life webinar in the subject line. And then what I want you to ask me, I'm not going to do it on a first come, first serve basis. I want you to describe to me in the body of the email why you're the best choice for me to give this strategy session to. I really want to give it to people that are leaning in and wanting to grow, wanting to take things to the next level. So share from your heart. The more I can connect with your personal story about what this would mean to you, that'll be how I determine those that are selected, and I'll let the winners know by Wednesday, September 7th. Okay?
That is amazing. Folks, just to kind of put this in perspective, Laurie works with like business leaders, and she's worked with John Maxwell. She's flown out of the country. She speaks on stages. This is not one of those like mom and pop, but we're gonna have coffee sort of things. And in fact, folks, the process of setting this up with Laurie has been world class. And what I mean by that is when I even asked for an outline of what her talk was and some of her graphics, they weren't just like, oh, it's just text only and just kind of loosely put together. She put time, energy, thought. She had graphics with it, and she went above and beyond. And so if you want a truly 10x experience, which I sometimes refer to from Grant Cardone. 10x experience, like one of the top experiences. I would strongly encourage you to take a look at this, fill it out with your heart, because the more you put into it, the more that you'll probably be able to get out of this. And I'm sad that there's only 9 spots, because I'll probably have one of them. But otherwise, folks, honestly, take advantage of it. And Laurie, that's kind of a wow. I'm so glad that you were able to do that, because I wasn't expecting it. And for you to, really donate that much of your time, thank you. Honestly, thank you for doing that for my clients.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I believe in you guys. I do. And I want the best for you, because I know, even though I can't actually see you, I see you from here. I see potential and possibilities in people. And I love drawing that out. Okay.
Any final thoughts, Laurie, you want to leave with the world here?
I think I would say, just again, a recap of these 3 keys to living a breakthrough life. Start leading it. Leadership, choose leadership. Take that responsibility to create that positive change in your life. Choose growth, divorce that comfort zone. Let me add a point to that the vision becomes clearer as you move toward it. Okay, so movement creates clarity. Don't get caught in the waiting game. I love saying this. Movement creates clarity. Action attracts opportunity. Okay, nothing's happening while you're standing still, folks. And finally, seek that supportive relationship. Seek those people that are going to pour into you and champion you to greater heights. The people that are getting the results you want in your life, the people you can't wait to be around, the people that are willing to say hard truth and being able to encourage you in ways that nobody else could imagine. So those are the 3 keys. And stay in touch with me. I would love to be connected with you and see how I can continue to support you in any way. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one or being a part of some of my mastermind groups, definitely email me, find me on Facebook. There's so much potential for you. Thank you, Nick.
Love it. So folks, Dr. Nick Fanning here with Laurie Hock, and I impress upon you, seek her out on Facebook, go to her website, lauriehock.com. Make sure you fill out these out. And then please, 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 you have a few days here to go on and send her an email and compete for those 10 spots. So with that, Dr. Nick Fanning signing off. Laurie Hock, thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.